Hi, my name is Arran Orive. I'm a senior at Lawrence High School, and life in shows, I guess. Life on stage. Oh God, it's Clue. Fun fact about Clue: this was supposed to be Puffs. Back in my freshman year, we were originally going to do Puffs, and then because of issues with a theater in Kansas City, we ended up having to quickly turn around and figure out something else. We put on Clue instead. It was really cool getting to be, as a freshman, getting to work alongside a bunch of really cool seniors and just kind of insert myself and learn stuff and then share it with that. And yeah, it was a blast. Oh boy, I guess we got John Proctor as the villain over there. So I was part of the run crew for John Proctor as the villain. Probably my favorite story that we've done at LHS Theater while I was here. I really love this play. It is, and probably that's heavily influenced by the fact that the cast of the show were very good at making it feel real. Like, painfully real and kind of it's witty, and it's like, because it's kids, not all the jokes are funny always, but they feel like they're stuff people would say. And I don't know, this, I hold that in a special place in my heart. I also love doing crew. I consider myself a techie still, which is, oh, there he is. Hey, Wayne. So we did Puffs. We eventually got to do it, and Puffs was last year, and I got to be Wayne Hopkins. I didn't audition for Wayne. I didn't think I would get Wayne. I auditioned for, gunning for either Oliver or Lord Valdy, and it was cruelly stolen from me by Clara Bodie. Wayne meant a lot to me, and also it was funnily enough, it was kind of full circle, because the person who was originally supposed to play Wayne was a guy named Noah Stussy, fantastic individual. He played Wadsworth in Clue, and so I understudied for him, so I was the second Wadsworth. I'm also the second Wayne. Wayne holds a special place in my heart, because I went into the show with the idea of closing night, Wayne dies for the final time, and he's dead after that. And so I kind of was processing the show as it went on with how do I want to spend my last night with Wayne? Because he is a wonderful, wonderful person who does not realize it. He was a really great place to be in. It was especially great because Ruby Hoffer and Clara Bodie, who were my two trio members who I spent the entire show with, were the best, and they're so incredibly funny, and I broke my back trying to keep up with them. Puffs was great. Oh, flipping sneak peek. Oh, Harry. Mamma Mia was great. It was fantastic, and it was a lot. It was a lot of things, but I got to play Harry Bright, and I love Harry because I saw in him a little bit of the Harry kind of is the happy ending of all the great English rock stars like Bowie. It's fun playing a character who you get to play with that idea of yes, he's gay, he's queer, he has a boyfriend, but it's his past relationship with Donna was so integral to him. It's like, how do I approach that? And it's like, in my mind, he is gay, but Donna lives as the exception, because Donna, it kind of is it's a different kind of love, but he still very much cares for her. Ooh. Lysistrata, Part 1. There's the fantastic Ashton Rapp. This was probably one of my favorite scenes I ever got to act in, because it's so much fun walking around and acting off of a single person when that single person is having as much fun as you are. Especially considering Ashton was incredibly funny as Federley. He set up a precedent, and Federley became a meme with how great it was. But It was, I don't know, it was great. The raccoon eyes were very fun. Lots of Batman and Winter Soldier jokes came out of those eyes. The Strata remix was fantastic, and I think it was a great way to kind of break in the senior year. It got a lot of people in, and it was nice to do. It's fun to do a show when you're the only principal character left who wasn't switched out. That was the remix was a blast to do because, funnily enough, Josh is probably the character I've played the longest because of that. And I still had a lot of him surprisingly in me, and I had more fun kind of being Josh in the remix because I knew him better. 24-hour playfest. I wrote for that. I had the SAT the morning of the actual festival, so I wasn't able to direct or act, so I wrote a play, and it was weird, and I have a complicated relationship with the actual product I created. But the coolest part was I wrote it, and unlike most of the other writers, I didn't come back for the rehearsal process. The next time I saw it, it was being performed on stage. So I got to write something, and then the next night, watch it be real, which was really, really cool. Cooper Grant, who was my director, did a really good job, and while I was writing it, he was like communicating with me and trying to figure out how we would do stuff with our limited like resources in terms of lighting and props. But it was a really cool experience, and you don't always get to like immediately see something you think of become reality. I'm bad at turning these pages. Oh hey, The Visit, Peter Spectator. The Visit was fun because it was it's really cool playing a character who you know isn't as important. And some people might disagree with this, but I don't think Peter's that important in the show. I think Peter's real purpose is showing a kind of like a version of the animosity and like darkness that lies in the hearts of the people in Miltonville, because Peter, I feel like, embodies that. He was kind of scary. I think he was probably one of the most inhumane characters I've played, and I've played a couple monsters. Also, Dominic Moore, who played Matthias Ill in that, did a fantastic job, and it was fun kind of constructing our scene together with the lens of an incredibly frightened and nervous man talking with someone who doesn't show any of his true feelings unless it's rage. It was a blast to kind of like be a bit of a bruiser. I'm not usually that, so being the imposing guy in the room is kind of funny. This last October, I got to go to this wonderful opportunity at Friends University. There was a mock audition process, and I went with Peyton Fowler and Annika Maximov, who are two of my favorite people in the world. And after, we got to see a workshop hosted by Friends University's theater people, but with the guest of Kristen Chenoweth, which is insane. And I see photos and my videos from that, and I think they're fake, because I don't believe it happened, but it did, and it was incredible. She is so small. But I took a lot of that to heart. I was taking a lot of notes, and I made sure to record a bunch of it because I'm not a very quick typer on my phone. But it was a really educational experience, and it was fun hearing from like the thoughts and thought process of someone who has that kind of like, she's Kristen Chenoweth. She has experience with the stuff that I want to spend my life doing. It's just insane that this picture exists. Kansas State Thespian Festival. I didn't go last year because I was a bit of a doofus and didn't register as a thespian early enough. So going this year was very fun. And I brought a piece with Dominic from the Sondheim musical Assassins. It was a competition, but I couldn't approach it like that because I needed to do a good performance, and I needed to kind of channel that pain every time I got in there. But we did a great job. We got a superior rating because it's a really good scene, and he's doing a great job in it. Little Shop of Horrors, Orin Scrivello. Uh, this was just fun. This was the best thing in the world. This wasn't the last thing, and it isn't the last thing I do with LHS Theater, but it felt like it while I was doing it. Last main stage show I did, and it was just so fun because it's my favorite type of role, which is you have a bunch you're doing, and then you leave for a while, and then you come back on and you do a bunch, and then you leave for a while. And it's like you don't have the stress of being a protagonist or a massive antagonist, though antagonists are generally more fun. But you still leave an impact. I still get stopped places I go, like in the halls at school, but also like I got stopped on Mass Street once. People loved Orin, which is kind of incredible considering I played him to be hateable. I dislike him incredibly. I think the challenge of playing a character like that is playing a character who you want people to dislike. I think the scariest part about him is that there's part of him that's incredibly real, and it's a real kind of evil that we see all the time. But yeah, he was a blast to do. I loved working with Thomas Sykes and Annika Maximov, who were Seymour and Audrey, because they were the best people to work with because I was checking in with them all the time because I'm playing this character he's a bully, and he's very physically antagonistic to people, especially to Audrey. So it was kind of figuring out the comfort level, and they just were the best and the most comfortable, and they really let me go all out with it, which I appreciate because I think it worked well, and it was fun letting loose in a character. Shakespeare's R&J. I played Student 3, which is a really weird role to have on your resume because it's up there with a lot more iconic roles, and it just says Student 3. But Student 3 entailed me portraying a kid who took on the persona of Mercutio and Friar Lawrence, and technically Lord Montague, for one line. But Student 3 was fun because aside from the characters from the original work you're embodying, they don't have any notes on the type of person that you're playing. Student 3 was a blank canvas for me to kind of create someone from. I loved doing that show because it was really, I love small casts. Small casts are where I thrive because you really get to get connections with your other actors and figure out how do these characters interact. What are their tics together? Working with January Jackson, who portrayed Benvolio, when I was Mercutio, it was kind of great because Benvolio and Mercutio are one of my favorite duos in theater. So I got to bring that together with one of my close friends. But it was just an emotional experience because it was the last show I did for theater. It was the last show I did with Dominic and Jordan Rundle, who were Juliet and Romeo, respectively. And by the end of the show, you're realizing that while this has been an incredible experience, you need to wake up. You need to go back to reality, no matter how painful that will be. It was fun getting my cast members to cry every time I did that. I spent a lot of time perfecting my delivery of the final line so I can mess with them. But yeah, hard show, lots of dialogue, but it was fun. Earlier I said Little Shop felt like my kind of last thing. R&J didn't feel like a last thing. It was probably why I was a lot less emotionally distraught. I was distraught by the end of it, but maybe a bit less so than others because R&J was, was thinking of it in my brain like, oh, this is my victory lap. This is my extra thing I get to do as a treat. And it was really fun to kind of go into it with this kind of more relaxed nature, even though it took so much effort to put together. And I'm really proud of the outcome. Yeah. It's weird because obviously if I hadn't done it at LHS, I probably would have done it somewhere, but I don't know if I would have come to the end conclusion of this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, because I will be pursuing theater and acting as my major. I think my biggest takeaway is that I really like telling stories. That's why I did this in the first place. I like making stories for other people and embodying stories in a way that you don't really get to do in other mediums. And it's really good when you have people that you're working with who also find enrichment and happiness through doing that, because you can really put your heads together and create something incredible. I got really lucky, and a lot of this is luck. It's having a good audition, or finding a role that suits you, or just catching the person on a good day, and then once you're doing the show, getting lucky that other people got cast as well, and you're getting to work with the best people. And I'm happy to know that I made a difference in a lot of people's lives, because they told me. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think that was something I would feel that I've done, but I did good work. And it's hard for me to say that, but I'm happy to say I did. I'm Arran Kennedy Orive, and this has been my life on stage so far.